Good morning. So we have been in Galatians chapter 5 thinking about the complicated topic of freedom. And yesterday I suggested that there were some aspects of freedom. I said some things about that, talked about the sort of the strategic limits of freedom, talked about the requirements of love and how love shapes freedom. Today I want to go a little bit further on this. And I'm talking about freedom because it's a topic that is it's one of the perennial topics. If you're reading Plato or Aristotle, or you're thinking about, the Enlightenment thinkers, Locke and others, if you look at the Declaration of Independence, Thomas Jefferson, all these people are talking about freedom with this idea that they want a society which provides as much freedom to people as people can manage. So there's a sense that we think about freedom because it's just one of the topics that we're always needing to think about. There's also the sense in which we think about freedom because it's such a popular topic today. One author writing about today put it this way: freedom has become the baseline cultural narrative of the West, the highest human good, the only remaining moral imperative we have left. So yesterday, I started by noting that there's some who think that we're free to do whatever we want as long as we don't bump into somebody else and restrict their freedoms. And I said, that's not really the way it works because we're not free of the consequences of our decisions. So I want to talk about this just a little bit more. I want to frame this for you. I want you to see something. So back in the book of Exodus, preached on this a couple years ago. Notice what happens after the Jews who have been slaves are set free. They're free. They're through the Red Sea. They go through. They get out away from Pharaoh, and they're free. And what does God say to them then? Does He say, "Hey, you're free. Live it up. You've had 400 years in captivity. Go do whatever you want"? No. The very first thing He says to them, His people that He loves, is, okay, meet me on Mount Sinai, and I'm going to give you a bunch of rules. Now, these rules, as I noted, some of the rules are they no longer apply to us because of what Jesus has done. We're free. God is not our earthly king as in the theocracy in which Israel was living before the appointment initially of Saul and then David and Solomon and others. But the civil requirements of the law go away, and then additionally the sacrificial requirements of the law or aspects of the law, all the temple rules and those things, those go away. But the moral law stays, and we talked about the reasons and what the law does for us. But I just want you to notice that God sets the people free, and then He gives them rules. And that's because, look, this is the way life works. And it's because what we're after is really the freedom that comes out of good rules. We're after the freedom that follows discipline. You're free to do nothing. But if you do nothing, then you're not free to be a good athlete. If you do nothing, you're not free to play beautiful music. If you do nothing, if you don't work on developing the skills in woodworking or painting, you're not free to be a good painter. So if you want the freedom to play beautiful music, you have to learn scales. If you want the freedom to speak another language, you have to discipline yourself and do that. Like the freedom, the life that is flourishing comes after finding the lane that we're supposed to be in and staying in that lane. So one of the most iconic statements in all the book of Exodus is just tragically and frequently misquoted. And the line is, "Let my people go." Right? So this is Moses speaking to Pharaoh. "Let my people go." Except that's not what Moses says. He doesn't say, "Let my people go free so they do whatever they jolly well want to." He says, "Let my people go free so that they might worship God." And this is a matter about having our loves and our fears rightly ordered. So there is a freedom that we're after, but it is a freedom that comes from discipline. Have a good day.